Warriors fans, listen. You ever get that feeling like everything's going smooth with someone, then out of nowhere they do something so off, so tone-deaf, that you just can't unsee it? That's what we call the ick. And unfortunately, that's exactly what's starting to set in when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga. And yeah, it's frustrating as hell. Because all the signs were pointing toward a season where the Warriors could actually turn things around. There was energy in the air. There was accountability. There was unity. And then this news drops. Now, let me set the scene for you. Jimmy Butler, yes, that Jimmy, put together one of those informal offseason training camps. The kind of gathering that championship-caliber teams wish they had. It's not mandatory. No one's forcing you to show up. But if you know anything about winning culture, you know that these are the moments that build trust, chemistry, and mindset before the season even tips off. These are the moments where real leaders show up, and the guys who get it, they're the ones who make the effort. And guess what? Gary Payton, too, was there. You hearing me? Gary Payton, too. He's a free agent just like Kuminga. He doesn't even have a new contract locked down yet. But he still showed up. Why? Because he knows what it means to be part of a championship team. He understands that culture matters, that presence matters, that even if no one's keeping score right now, someone's always watching. And when you want to be taken seriously by your teammates, by the coaching staff, by the front office, you show up. It's not about the drills. It's not even about the minutes on the court. It's about showing your teammates that you're all in. But Kuminga? Nowhere to be found. And yeah, I know he's still technically a restricted free agent, still working things out with the team. But that excuse only goes so far when another free agent, a guy with just as much to lose, makes the time to be there. When a player decides not to join a team bonding moment like that, especially one this rare, that says something. That's the kind of move that sets off alarms if you're in the front office. It's not about missing one workout. It's about what that absence represents. You want to know what made those early Warriors dynasty runs so successful? Beyond the talent, beyond the shooting, it was the togetherness, the chemistry, the off-court connection. Guys like Steph, Clay, Draymond, Andre Iguodala, they didn't just go to war together on the court. They were tied off it. Those team dinners on the road, those locker room conversations, that was the glue. That's what got them through the grind of 82 games and multiple playoff rounds. And the Warriors knew that. They valued that. So when Jimmy Butler organizes something like this, and guys like Steph and Draymond are present, that's a signal. That's leadership saying, we're locked in. We're starting early. We're not waiting for training camp to build chemistry. We're building it now. That's the DNA of a team that's hunting for a ring. Not just hoping, hunting. Now look, Kuminga's talent is not the issue. We've seen what he can do on the floor when he's locked in. The athleticism, the flashes of scoring, the potential to be a two-way force. It's all there. But this league is full of talent. What separates the good from the great is mentality. And when you're playing on a team where two future Hall of Famers are trying to squeeze one more ring out of their careers, every decision you make counts. Every moment where you choose me over we gets magnified. And let's be honest, this isn't the first time questions have been raised about Kuminga's maturity. We've seen the signs. Steve Kerr has been reluctant to give him consistent minutes, even when he's been healthy. There's been whispers behind the scenes about effort, attitude, body language. Nothing confirmed, of course, but enough smoke to know that something's been off. And missing a camp like this? That just pours gasoline on the fire. You can't be the guy asking for a bigger role, asking for star-level money, and then turn your back on an opportunity to bond with the same teammates you're expecting to go to war with. You can't say you're ready to lead while being absent when leadership moments present themselves. And here's the thing. The Warriors are entering their version of the last dance. But this isn't the Bulls' last dance with MJ, Scottie, and Rodman. This is the Banana Boat era last dance. A group of veterans, legends in their own right, coming together for one final shot at glory. Steph wants number 5. Draymond wants number 5. Jimmy wants his first. And they're all willing to do the work. They're all showing up. So if you're not matching that energy, you're out. That's the tone being set right now, and I actually love it. I love seeing this group build something real, something hungry. This isn't the 2022 title run, where the team sort of figured it out mid-season. This feels different. This feels intentional. This feels urgent. And urgency doesn't leave room for passengers. Which brings us back to Kuminga. From the outside, it looks like he's misreading the room, big time. Thinking that because he's young, because he's got upside, teams will just line up regardless of what he does now. But ask Nerlens Noel's how that played out. Ask Dennis Schroeder how that bet on yourself, gamble went when attitude got in the way of the opportunity. This league has a long memory when it comes to players who think they're bigger than the culture, especially when you're not a proven star yet. And I'm not trying to bury Kuminga here. That's not the point. The point is, there's still time for him to flip the script. But that window is closing fast. The Warriors are moving. This front office isn't going to sit around waiting for someone to mature if it risks Steph's final championship window. They've already had one foot out the door with Jordan Poole. They moved on quickly. They'll do it again. And to be real, they probably should. Because this team, they're showing signs of being all in. Jimmy's making calls, Steph's organizing workouts. Vets are taking pay cuts just to stay on board. That kind of energy, that's rare. And when it starts forming, you don't let it get poisoned by someone who's not ready to commit. So yeah, if I'm like Dunleavy or Joe Lacob, I'm paying close attention to this. This right here, Kuminga ghosting an off-season workout. That might be the tipping point. That might be the moment where you decide, all right, this just isn't going to work. And that brings us to the next step, because now the question isn't just, is Kuminga part of the future? The question becomes, what can we get right now that helps us win in the short term? Forget about draft picks. Forget about potential. We're talking about bringing in solid, reliable, battle-tested veterans who know what it means to play a role on a contender. Guys who won't complain about playing 12 minutes one night and DNP the next. Guys who are mentally locked in, even when the lights are off. Guys who are ready to go whenever their number is called. Because the Warriors don't need another development project. They need glue guys. They need voices in the locker room. They need men who've been through playoff wars and still have something left to give. And if that means flipping Kuminga for a couple of solid vets, and maybe even eating a little bit on the contract side of things, so be it. It's a small price to pay to keep the window open for 1 or 2 more years. Now let's talk real strategy, because if Kuminga's on the way out and all signs point to that door creaking open, then the front office has to be smart about what they're getting back. And this isn't about grabbing the flashiest name or chasing big contracts. This is about basketball IQ. This is about chemistry. This is about experience. And most importantly, this is about fit. You bring in guys who understand their job and take pride in doing it well, even if that job doesn't make the highlight reels. Guys who know what it means to sit 2 games in a row and still be the first one off the bench clapping for their teammates. Guys who don't need to be convinced that every ring chase comes with sacrifice. Look back at the 2015 squad. Look at what made that team tick. Yes, Steph was on another planet. Yes, Clay was automatic. But it was guys like Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Leandro Barbosa, players who knew how to read the room, how to lead from the second unit, how to stabilize a game when the starters were out of rhythm. That's what made them special. That's what gave Steve Kerr options when things got chaotic in the playoffs. And right now, that's what the Warriors desperately need again. Depth with a brain. Toughness with humility. You cannot underestimate how valuable it is to have a second unit that can hold the line. It doesn't need to dominate. It just needs to keep the lead or stop the bleeding when the starters rest. That's how championship teams survive those long postseason runs. Because no matter how great your stars are, they're going to hit a wall at some point. And if your bench crumbles the second your leaders sit down, you're not winning anything. And that's where the Kuminga trade becomes critical. You flip him now, while there's still upside and hype around him. You don't wait until the season starts, and his value starts slipping if things get rocky. You move him while teams still see the highlight plays, the wingspan, the scoring potential, and not the warning signs that are starting to show. And honestly, one team that keeps coming up in my mind is the Miami Heat. You want to talk about a culture match? That's it right there. That franchise knows how to develop players. They've turned undrafted guys into playoff heroes. If Kuminga wants a clean slate, a place where he can grow but also be held accountable every single day, Miami might be the place. And in return, the Warriors could ask for exactly what they need. Vets who can come in, mesh instantly, and most importantly, buy in. And let's be real, that's all Golden State is looking for at this point, buy-in. If you're not bought in, you're a liability. It doesn't matter how many dunks you can throw down or how athletic you are if you're not part of the mission. The mission is a ring. Period. Anything else is just noise. Now, some people might say, well, you're giving up on a young, talented guy too soon. But here's the truth. The Warriors are not in rebuild mode. They're not sitting around waiting for potential to maybe blossom 3 years from now. They have this year. Maybe one more. That's it. Steph Curry is still playing like an MVP, but we all know that window doesn't stay open forever. You don't waste it waiting for someone to figure out their attitude. You capitalize while the fire's still burning. And if we're being brutally honest, Kuminga had a solid season statistically, sure. But let's not act like he was dominating. He had flashes, stretches, moments, but never full consistency. And what's even more concerning is that even in a year where he finally got a bigger role, it still felt like the coaching staff couldn't fully trust him. Whether it was defensive lapses, slow rotations, or just getting lost in the flow of the offense, something was always just a little off. Now contrast that with what we're seeing from the rest of this roster. Veterans locked in, leaders pushing workouts, role players embracing their assignments. There's something brewing, something focused. And if Kuminga doesn't feel like he's part of that movement, then the Warriors owe it to themselves to cut ties before it becomes a distraction. That's how dynasties die. Not because they run out of talent, but because the internal chemistry erodes. One player, one ego, one misstep can cause a ripple effect that turns into a full-on collapse. We've seen it happen with other franchises. Golden State knows that risk better than anyone after going through the Durant departure and the rough seasons that followed. They're not going to let history repeat itself just to protect a young prospect. And the most telling part of this entire situation is how the team handled it publicly. They didn't. No strong statements. No big defense of Kuminga's absence. Just silence. And in this league, silence often speaks the loudest. It tells you who's in the inner circle and who's slipping out of it. So what's the move? You target veterans who aren't chasing stats. You go after guys who've been deep in the playoffs, guys who know how to switch, rotate, communicate. Guys who won't get rattled when things get tight in a Game 6 on the road. Think about how valuable a solid, defensive-minded wing can be next to Steph and Klay, someone who doesn't need touches to make an impact, or a backup big who can hold the paint when Draymond's off the floor. These are the pieces that win championships. Not flashy, not headline-grabbing, but vital. You build your bench with intention, not desperation. And if that means parting ways with Kuminga now, you do it cleanly, respectfully, and with clarity. Send him somewhere he can grow, but bring back pieces that can help right now. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. The NBA world is buzzing with speculation tonight as whispers of a blockbuster deal have shaken the league to its core. Sources close to team management suggest that the Golden State Warriors have reportedly reached an agreement with the Phoenix Suns in a move that could reshape the landscape of the Western Conference. While no official confirmation has yet been made, insiders are hinting that the trade involves key pieces from both rosters, sparking intense debate among fans and analysts alike. According to the chatter, the Warriors are looking to bolster their lineup with fresh talent to complement their championship-contending core, while the Suns appear eager to restructure and position themselves for a new era. Social media has erupted with fans speculating who could be on the move, with some suggesting that marquee names might be part of the package. NBA Twitter, already a hotbed for breaking news, is overflowing with theories, mock trade scenarios, and heated debates over the potential impact of the rumored transaction. The timing of the alleged deal has only fueled the fire, coming just as teams are navigating mid-season adjustments and playoff positioning. Analysts are questioning how such a move could affect team chemistry, rotations, and long-term strategies, especially with the Warriors' storied recent history of maximizing talent around their superstar duo. Meanwhile, Phoenix fans are trying to read between the lines, wondering whether this signals a bold rebuild or a high-stakes gamble to compete immediately. Insiders hint that negotiations were intense and involved multiple layers of discussion, with executives from both sides working tirelessly behind closed doors. If finalized, the trade could instantly shift the balance of power in the West, prompting rival teams to reconsider their own strategies and potentially triggering a domino effect of roster moves across the league. For now, the rumor hangs heavy in the air, leaving fans, pundits, and players alike on edge, eagerly awaiting the first official word that could confirm what everyone is already talking about: a seismic shift in the NBA. The league's landscape may never look the same again if this rumored deal comes to fruition, making it the most talked-about story in professional basketball this season. As speculation continues to mount, one thing is certain: the Golden State Warriors and Phoenix Suns have ignited a frenzy that shows no signs of slowing down. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.